Have you been experiencing internal financial struggles triggered by economic concerns? Are you feeling capped at your current income level and can't seem to realize your financial potential? Energy healer Jean Border has created an emotional freedom technique, or EFT, tapping protocol to help calm the inner voice that keeps you stressed. Claim your free copy at jeanborder.com/vow and say goodbye to those financial blockages. Welcome to another episode of the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey podcast, Energy Work to Better Your Business, hosted by energy healer Jean Border. It's not just about dreaming, it's about making those dreams a practical reality. Subscribe to us via your favorite network by visiting our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com. Now, get ready. Your journey to success starts here.
Hello, everyone. It's your host, Jean Border, with another episode of the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey podcast. Last week, I got on my soapbox about social anxiety and things politically that are driving personal decisions or lack of personal accountability, maybe, in the U.S. And so this time I want to talk about when the world feels heavy, what you can do to reconnect with yourself, your soul, your purpose, your mission, whether that's making a great home, making strides in science, creating new goals for your business, whatever that happens to be for you. Before I get to that, I need to remind everybody, if you're having some financial stress in your world, there's a free resource I created for you. Just go down below and click on the link. Or for those of you who are just listening and not watching, it is jeanborder.com/vow, VOW. It's a EFT tapping protocol that will help calm down your central nervous system so that you can make financial decisions from a place of calm and peace rather than tension and stress. If you have any questions about it, give me a call. There's a microphone on my website, or shoot me an email, jean@jeanborder.com. Or there are instructions. Just follow the instructions inside the PDF. Okay? Let me know how it goes for you. I'm always interested in feedback. And if there's something else I can create for you that will also provide benefit, let me know. I'm here for you. Okay, so today, the heaviness in the world and its impact on the individual. The individual, however, impacts not only themselves, but the people around them and the business that they've created or the workplace that they go to every day. Stress is insidious. Tension spreads, right? So we want to make sure everybody is in a place to take back their personal power, to choose, their personal power to lead if you're a leader or if you're a business owner, your personal power to heal if you're having some physical, emotional issues, or the personal power to lead your best life, whatever that looks like for you. When the world is falling apart, it's very easy to wonder if you even matter, if your voice matters, if your choice matters, if your actions matter, if your decisions matter, if your business matters, if your place in the family is a benefit to anybody. When we feel like our world is not safe, we can have a tendency to retreat into what is familiar and what makes us feel safe, even if that comes at the expense of not growing our business the way we'd planned, not taking our family on special outings the way we'd planned. Maybe that means we stay in the house more instead of going out in public. It shows up in a lot of ways. One way to become aware of how this heaviness is impacting us is to bump it up against our mission, our life's mission, whether that is to create a strong family, whether that is to create more profit in your business, whether that's to create a business, whether that's to be the best you can be at your job, whatever that is. Keep that as your goal. Keep that in mind. What is your mission? What is your purpose? Does your fear stack up against your purpose? Maybe it's valid. Maybe you, in order to guarantee your family's safety, you need to stay indoors. That's valid. As long as you've made an actual analysis of the situation inside your head and you've made the choice that for now, this is best for everyone involved or for the majority. It's not always possible to make decisions that benefit everyone equally, right? But keep in mind that your purpose lies deeper than your mood, or in a lot of cases, what the media is throwing at you. I mentioned last time, and I mentioned it in multiple podcasts, the media has an agenda, which is to get you upset, to get you excited, so that you tune in longer, more often. So the people tracking the stats can say, we have this many viewers, we have this many listeners, and that can attract more sponsors who run more commercials, who pay them more money. So it is in the media's best interest to hype sensationalism about things that may be partially true, may be someone's viewpoint on the situation, may be things that you have absolutely zero control over and that do not impact your world. But it gets you upset, and now you're hooked. And now you've got to sit there and wait and watch the commercials until they get back to the story that they teased you with before the commercial. And that has an impact on your central nervous system. That tension ramps up your body, just like you were in a situation where you had control or had no control. The body doesn't understand the difference. It just allows you to experience. That's the way it was created, to live in whatever reality you're in, to keep you safe, to warn you when danger exists. So when you get upset about something on the TV, you're ramping up the tension in your body. Your brain has to go through this idea of, is this a danger to me? Am I going to be afraid? Am I going to run? Am I going to freeze so that someone doesn't see me move? Or am I going to relax because there's really no danger? And so now you've kept that tension in your body through those commercials while you were hyper-focused on these commercials that chances are things you don't need, that may be detrimental to your financial situation or detrimental to your physical or mental or emotional health, right? Maybe they really are something that will benefit you, but chances are those are few and far between. I take commercials as an informational source and not much else. And yes, they get me ticked off when they're spouting medications that you really may or may not need. Yes, they're informational, but when they talk about how some of the side effects are suicidal thoughts and really all it's going to do is make your face a little bit clearer, is that in your best interest to try to kill yourself, what good would that do for your family, right? Yes, you'll have clearer skin, but if you're dead, the only people who are going to see it are the people looking at you in your casket. So, my role is always to look at the agenda of whatever item is being offered. And if their agenda is really not to keep your kids healthy, but to get you indoctrinated to take every shot that comes out so they can make more money, is that really in your best interest? I don't know. You have to decide that. But back to your physical well-being. What's your purpose? What's your goal in this world? Your purpose lives much deeper than your mood. Those commercials you saw, it ticked me off already, right? So I've got that in my central nervous system, and I've got to get that out of my thoughts, out of my body, so that I can continue to provide value for you. Because that's my personal bias, right? You may have a totally different background. You probably do. You have different beliefs. You have different history. You may look at pharmaceuticals differently than I do. I'm one of those people who believes that the body was created to heal. If you get a cut on your hand and you keep it clean, you keep the bacteria out of it, it will heal itself. I don't run to a doctor unless it needs stitches, right? I would go to a doctor if I broke a leg. I ripped something in my knee once, and I did go to the doctor. There are times when doctors are absolutely necessary, but sometimes we look at the medical field as a crutch. I want instant fix, right? And a lot of times the way to go to instant fix is pharmaceuticals. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but it is an option. But I have to get all that out of my head and all that tension out of my body so that I can provide value to you. Because if I don't, I run the risk of disconnecting from my mission. My mission is to provide value to you. My wants, my needs are irrelevant because you have to be my focus, right? If I lose sight of my mission, what might happen? Confusion, regret, sometimes apathy. What does it matter what I think? What does it matter what I do? Nothing's going to change anyway. But if my mission is to provide value to you and I don't do it, that's where the regret can come in. And that feeling in my gut that there is more value that I can provide. And here's a big word, choosing by not doing anything to not provide the value that's possible. Not everybody likes what I have to say. I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't expect people to agree with me 100%. I don't agree with anybody 100%. There are nuggets that hopefully will resonate with you. If not, I'm not the podcast for you, right? We all draw in people who are like-minded or who have something to offer that we need at a certain point in our life. I've had so many different mentors. I've been in so many masterminds. I've been with so many different healers and leaders and teachers. And they all provided value at a specific point in time or a specific topic that I needed information on or that I was focused on, right? But if those leaders had disconnected from their mission, I might have missed a valuable asset. I'm going to call it an asset. We pick up assets throughout our lives. We pick up skills, knowledge, abilities throughout our lives. The question is, are you going to hold on to what you know or are you going to spread it around? My podcast is a way for me to actually Number one, let people get to know me, right? Decide if I have anything of value for them. And number two, I get to interact with some really cool people. So that's what I get out of it. I get to interact with some really cool people sometimes. I've interviewed people that I don't agree with the way they do things sometimes, but I do agree with the fact that they have the right to do it without me judging, without me trying to quiet their voice, because they have a mission. It's not my mission. A lot of times people say, well, why don't you, show everybody what healing is? Why don't you try to teach them? That's not my mission. My mission is to work with people who understand that energy is so powerful, that your personal energy and your personal power is everything. And if you give that away, you're giving away a piece of yourself, right? And again, I'm back on my soapbox. I try not to do that, but occasionally it happens. But when you start to get disconnected from your mission, you doubt why I'm even doing this. You might doubt the impact you're making in the world. You might start to step back. You might stop marketing if you're in business. You might start pulling back from the masterminds. You might stop taking classes. You might start shutting down your calendar if you work with clients so that you're working with fewer. You might start feeling a sense of apathy. Yeah, I'm here. The face, if you had a visual, my face just got very blank. I'm here. No expression, no emotion. But when you focus on my 3 steps, becoming aware, where am I now? Where do I want to be? Where is my family now? Where do I want my family to be in a month, 6 months, a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now? What do I want that to look like? Becoming focused on what you decide you want it to look like and what action steps you're going to have to take to get you there. And then actually taking action, right? Strategic action if you're in business. Focus on that process. It will help you get back to where you know you're meant to be. Who am I here to help? Am I here to help anybody, or am I just here to make money? Get clear on that. If you just need to make money, that is a valid mission. If you have bills to pay, that is a valid, important focus. I need to create money. I need money to pay my mortgage or my rent or my utilities or to buy gas for my car to be able to go to work. That's valid. That's important. Don't shake that off. That's important. Get focused on that again. I need to make money. How much do I need to make? When do I need to make it by? What are opportunities for me to start creating some funds, right? And then what action steps can I take? Whether that's cutting somebody's grass to make $25. $25 is $25. That's a lot of money. But we lose sight of that sometimes when we hear all these people talk about, oh, it's the latest buzzword is how many trillions it is, right? It used to be how many hundreds, and then it was how many thousands, and then how many hundreds of thousands, and then how many millions, and now it's how many trillions. Yeah, seriously? How much do you need to survive? What is your goal for money? How are you going to make it? How are you going to hold it? How are you going to keep it? How are you going to grow it? Right? And in some cases, how are you going to spend it wisely to benefit you, your family, your business, your nonprofit, someone else's nonprofit, How are you going to use that money to benefit people who don't have a home or people who don't have food? Can you provide help there? So many times we get used to standing back and letting somebody else take care of it. Maybe you could focus on one person or one group you might be able to help. Maybe that's your new aspect of your mission. Maybe that's part of your purpose. When we go from the internal focus to the external focus, it's amazing what happens. When things stop being about me, I, and it's on how can I help this one person? What does this one person need that to me is, no big deal at all, but to them it means the world. And you see on their face the impact that one action had on them, and it changes the way you feel inside and makes you just that little bit more connected to the world again. What message do I need to share? What message does your family need to hear? What message do they need to see or feel? That's a big one from you. Do they need to feel like you care that they've had a bad day at school? Do they just need you to pay attention to them for 10 minutes? Ignoring everything else around you, putting down your phone, not watching the news, not watching the TV. Just sit with them for 5 minutes. So what happened at school today? So that you're focused directly on them, not on you, not on what you're missing, not on what you could be doing, making them feel important. Or maybe it's your workforce. Maybe it's your employees. Maybe there's somebody you haven't even said hello to in a week because you've been so focused on the task that you forgot that that's a human doing the task. Shift from internal to external focus. But if you want to look at yourself, what kind of an impact could you make on the world that would energize you? If you saw that one person who needed that $25 that to you, you could make more money. A lot of us have that knowledge. It's just money and I could always make more. That's money is just, it's just energy. That's all it is, right? That sounds weird. It sounds woo-woo, all that stuff. But if you're not an energy person, just look at it. Let's look at $5. Somebody needs that $5, which would mean the world to them. That's a gallon of gas in some places that might get them to work so that they could make more money. And to you, that's not even a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So for you, it's nothing. For them, it's the world. What impact could you make on somebody else that would energize you to take another action to impact someone else? And seeing their response or seeing how it improved their world would energize you, right? You're getting a flow going. Everything is balance. When you're out of balance, you feel it in your emotions, in your mental hamster wheel. I'm going to call it a hamster wheel. The mental clutter, conversations you have in your head, you feel it in your physical body. And people around you notice it. So how can you reconnect to your mission, your purpose in life? Easiest way is to shift your focus from internal to external. Help somebody else. Make someone else's world better. Help rescue an elephant. I'm very much focused on, when I was younger, it was all about World Wildlife Fund. It was all about, the National Park Service, anything in the natural world that humans could have messed up. I was all about helping fix that. At this point in my life, I'm very much on the basics. Water, clean water. There's a company called, a nonprofit called Charity Water, where 100% of whatever you donate goes into installing or repairing wells for remote places that have no access to clean water. And they'll use dirty water out of a river to live. And they know their children are going to, as soon as they're weaned, are going to get sick when they start drinking the water because of all the parasites and the bad bacteria in the river water or lake water or whatever they have access to when they have access to it. So I'm all about that. And then the basic food, there's a nonprofit that I donate to that provides food for people who do not have access. It's meals for people. And then I sponsor children who need help. So those are the basics. But at different points in our lives, we have different focus, right? What is your focus? Who can you help? Maybe it's actually you don't have money, so you're going to go down and donate your time. And that is hugely impactful. You can see how much impact you have on the people there. Maybe you're just back in the kitchen cutting up vegetables. Or maybe you're going from the grocery store and picking up, I'll call it stale dated food that's past the sell-by date. That's perfectly good. It's just reached its printed date on the package. And so that goes to the local areas who are creating meals for people. Maybe you're doing that kind of work, just picking it up and dropping it off. Someone needs to do that. That's hugely impactful. So don't minimize the role you play in someone else's life. Helping someone else will help you reconnect to who you are. It will help you understand that your personal power can help so many people if you utilize it. If you don't just sit back and say, there's nothing I can do. There's a lot you can do, right? Your purpose lives deeper than your mood. What's your purpose? What have you done today to help move your purpose? To help you take back your personal power, to heal, to grow, to lead your best life, to help someone else. I feel like I've been on my soapbox lately. I prefer doing interview type podcasts, but for last week and this week and maybe another couple of weeks, I think I'm going to do solo shows. And I'm just going to be on my soapbox. Whatever needs to come out, in my view, is what I'm going to throw out. Hopefully you found something in today's episode that will help you reconnect to your purpose or reaffirm your purpose or decide you've got a different one, right? What my goal is with today was to help people who are feeling disconnected from, in some ways, the world. We've got so much going on politically. We always do, but there are certain times when events escalate, and that's kind of where my emotions have told me there's something going on in the world. Do what you can to address it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just an energy worker, right? That's not a great way to say that, but we minimize the impact that we could have on the world. It's normal, but being aware of when we use those words to minimize our value is important. And I get on my clients about that all the time, but I'm human, so I do it too. So there you go. I think we're going to leave it there for today. But if you're feeling disconnected, you can always do rounds of tapping, right? Why do I feel this way? I'm feeling lost. I feel guilty for not meeting my purpose. There's all kinds of words that you can use, but whatever words you use, try to focus on the emotions. Tapping is an emotional technique. And so the more emotions you address, the more results you're going to notice. Okay? If you need help, I'm here. You can leave me a message. You can send me an email, Jean@jeanborder.com, or on my website, jeanborder.com. There is a microphone. If you don't like to type, you can just talk into the microphone and I'll get back with you. I want to thank you for listening. Me on my soapbox. I feel really funny doing solo episodes, but sometimes I feel like I need to do it. And so I listen to that voice inside, which a lot of us, I refer to as intuition or a knowing. The more you pay attention to your intuition or that small voice inside, the stronger that muscle will become. That's something else that's another conversation that I have with clients. When you begin to trust yourself, the more you trust, the stronger it will become. So there's another thought for today. Had nothing to do with the episode, but maybe somebody needed to hear it. That's my idea. Whatever is supposed to happen, whatever's supposed to show up is what's going to show up in these shows. So there we go. That's today's show on heaviness and reconnecting to your purpose to help you take back your personal power. This is your host, Jean Border, with another episode of the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey podcast. Until next time.
We trust you enjoyed this episode of the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey podcast. Energy work to better your business. Hosted by energy healer Jean Border. Remember to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Focused Practical Dreamers Journey.